those great many people now finally drawing their attention toward anything other than the official narrative, I wanted to give them a little gift here, because Simon's really clever, Charlie's clever, you're clever, and I'm quite clever in my way. And I don't think that's necessarily conducive to people who are new to this. So I just want to speak to the layman for 3 minutes. And I want to tell you something that happened in history 61 years ago. This was Khrushchev, who was effectively the commander-in-chief, the president of Russia, the Soviet Union. Now, Khrushchev predicted something in 1959 on September the 29th. And I'm just going to read his entire quote. I asked my 91-year-old grandmother this morning, I said, do you remember in 1959 when Khrushchev gave his famous seminal landmark speech to the West, which was broadcast on that crackly black and white film where he got a shoe and he banged the shoe on? She said, oh yes, I remember that. That was seminal. Now, what he said, and this, folks, was 1959, 29th of September, was, your children's children will live under communism. You Americans are so gullible. No, you won't accept communism outright, but we'll keep feeding you small doses of socialism until you finally wake up and find you already have communism. We will not have to fight you. We will so weaken your economy until you will fall like overripe fruit into our hands. The democracy will cease to exist when you take away from those who are willing to work and give to those who would not. All right? He said this. Democracy will cease to exist when you take away from those who are willing to work and give to those who will not. Remember, socialism leads to communism. So how do you create a socialistic state? These are the 8 levels of control. 1, healthcare. Control healthcare and you control the people. I give you COVID, corona, blah, blah. 2, poverty. Increase the poverty level as high as possible. People are easier to control and will not fight back if you're providing everything for them. That's the socialist program of the nanny state. 3, debt. Increase the debt to an unsustainable level. That way you're able to increase taxes and this will produce more poverty. 4, gun control. Remove the ability to defend themselves from the government. That way you're able to create a police state. 5, welfare. Take control of every aspect, food, housing, income of the people's lives, because that makes them fully dependent on the government. 6, education. Take control of what people read and listen to, and take control of what children in particular learn in school. 7, religion. Remove the belief in God from the government and schools, because the people need to believe in only the government knowing what is best for them. 8, class warfare. Divide the people into the wealthy and the poor. Eliminate the middle class. This will cause more discontent and it will be easier to tax the wealthy with the support of the poor. And that was 61 years ago. And I think for the layman, that gives them a perfect backdrop to what's led to this insanity of the last year.
That's utterly brilliant, Sacha. And I'm so grateful that you brought that forward and that we all agreed we should start with that. Now, what's your reaction to both the timeline and the deaths?
I'm not qualified to speak on that. I'll tell you, I spoke to a deputy, it's a deputy CIA regional director yesterday in a part of the world right now, I'm not going to say any more than this, where there is a gathering of people. Those people include, I'm actually not going to say the names. He gave me 5 names of the most famous media figures and figures in the public health sector, okay, in the world. And they're gathered on this island and they're having a private meeting. He also assured me that as far as he was concerned, this was another bear trap that they're walking into. Look, it seems to me that the proverbial white hats have set a number of bear traps. And I think that those bear traps have been set an awful long time ago. It's almost on automatic pilot. And it almost doesn't matter that there's anyone in the cockpit at 37,000 feet right now, because the game has been so well articulated. Now, I've felt that from day one. Yes, we've seen slight shifts in datelines and expectations, but please remember, those datelines and expectations have been essentially double disinfo loops in order to protect the integrity of the chess play. Okay, because nobody gives a damn about what Joe blogs on the street is actually knowing or thinking about the actual day that Hillary Clinton gets picked up. It's of no consequence to know the exact date and time and place. So the double disinfo loops are pretty much everywhere. They have been all year. And please, to people who are throwing rocks at Simon's head, Charlie's head, Robert's head, and I dare say to my own head, bear in mind, these are 4 lowly paid or underpaid servants of the truth. As simple as that. We're doing the best we can. I'd ask yourself the question, what are you doing to inquire after pure truth? Over to you.
Charlie, the floor is yours. Take as long as you like, and particularly with the new discoveries that you want to share. And I've turned screen share on for everybody.
Well, first of all, I think it's very, very important what Sacha has said there. And you have to understand that I am just Charlie. I'm nobody by comparison to the people involved in the organization of this. And I knew about this 7 years ago. And if Charlie knew about it 7 years ago, it was planned long before. So this, what Sacha has just said there, makes you realize that this has been very carefully planned, not in the last 6 months, not in the last year, but probably for 10 years, maybe even 20 years. It's been going on for a very long time. I knew that there was 8,000 people behind the scenes planning this 2 years ago. They told me that, but I didn't know the difference between white hats and black hats. I didn't know the difference between the New World Order reset and the quantum financial system. I've had to learn that. But one thing I want to say today is a big, big thank you to Santa Surfing over in Hawaii. She's put a very, very good video together today because she's done some research. And she's found out by going onto the court records as to who has been arrested, what they've been charged with currently this year. And they include people like Adam Schiff, Nancy Pelosi, Jeff Bezos. She's gone through them all. And you can go on there yourself. You have to pay for the information. But if you're that keen to find out the exact details, I'm sure you won't mind. But everything is there in black and white on the court's legal web page. Very, very important information, because in the public domain, everybody heard that Jeff Bezos had stood down. He probably needed to when he was going to be arrested. It's probably a very good reason to step down. I've also had information from hundreds of Amazon employees who've been told to frequent their position, leave their position on the 12th of February, and they'll be notified if they're needed to return. And I don't guess in February that they're taking time off for their summer holidays. That doesn't make an awful lot of sense. So they've been relieved of their duties.
Let me just jump in and say that the 12th of February is the Friday before President's Day, which is a holiday on the 15th of February, and that tracks with the timeline out of Belgium. Back to you, Charlie, for the rest of your discovery.
Well, between the three of us before Simon came on here, we're trying to establish a picture that was sent to me today of some gallows said to be outside the White House. So if anybody in Washington can take a better quality picture than the one I've got and establish the number of steps up to the gallows, and if they are real gallows or whether it's a Photoshop, we'd be very, very grateful.
Show it to us, please.
So I'm going to take my camera across here so that you can see.
Charlie, I can do it here. Look.
Oh, well done, Sacha. Oh, you're done, Sacha.
The genius of collective intelligence. All right. Sacha's providing the image. Charlie, please continue speaking.
Well, this is what has been sent to me this morning by 1984 Eyes Wide Open. So there's a lot of information out there, and what we're trying to do is establish whether it's truth, fake, or fiction. There's a lot of stuff out there that's not real, and so we're all putting our heads together, because this is how we find out truth, is when you get a group of people determined to find the truth, because we've already seen a fake inauguration. So now we're trying to establish whether this is truth or whether it's fake. But when we come together and put our heads together and try and establish, the details, we all know we saw the set, the television set in Hollywood at Castle Rock Studios.
There's another set just like it in Baltimore. I've had actors come in and tell me they've been on that set in Baltimore.
But because of the way that they think, I thought it was rather funny how it looked like Trump walked past the window. So it was almost saying, you're in a movie and I'm the director. And one other thing that I was going to quickly mention was today I've had a contact from one of my Spanish friends called Juan, who's up in Valladolid in northern Spain. And he's been in contact with a first responder who've been clearing out a deep underground military base in Valladolid that scales the size of 120 plus blocks underground. And he sent me a video, which I'll be honest with you, it's far too disgusting to share publicly. But anybody that's absolutely desperate for it, I've got a video of a first-hand video of what this actually looks like, so you get an idea of how disgusting these people are.
I think it's also illegal in the United States, Charlie, to show pictures of children and decomposed things. So let's avoid that completely. So okay. This is wonderful. Finish up this story, and then we'll ask Simon Parks to give us the grand finale.
Well, that's the basics of it. There's an awful lot going on right now. There's a lot of arrests, and you have to understand, right from day one, I've said, this is all a smokescreen for the global financial reset. From what I understand from the financial boys, where it's imminent. So looking forward.
God bless you, all of you. Simon Parks, I would be very pleased if you just brought us to a close and then on this one, and then I'll ask each of you a spiritual question and we'll close out on a high note.
Thank you, Robert, and nice to see everybody. The structure that you were showing has already been dismantled. It's no longer there. This Friday could be very interesting. I was saying before we went live that I tend to get to the two, not code words, but phrases. One phrase is, it's definitely going to happen. And one is, we're planning for it to happen, but let's see. So I got the second one, which is, we're planning for it to happen, but don't give it as 100% guarantee. And that's for Friday. That's this Friday, but that's not 100% guarantee. What people struggle with is that if these high-profile people are arrested, what they're struggling with is why then are they not in bars? Why aren't they on house arrest? Why are they back in their job? So that's one of the issues, that people won't buy this until it goes to the next stage. In terms of Amazon, it's very interesting that a prepared statement said that the chief executive was stepping down to concentrate on his philanthropic work regarding the climate. So that, I think, is very interesting. I've been dealing today with quite a lot of information regarding situation with planned operations with underground bases, and your name came up, Charlie, as having been, I think, in Nevada and having had a look around some of those tunnels, so you can get an idea. You were probably storing gold there, and you came across
the tunnels I looked at were in Bath.
Oh, Bath, okay. Oh. But anyway, the person who gave me that information is not British. So I am the same as you guys. I've not changed my opinion. We are on time in the sense that there's a time that's been created by those who manage this operation, not by the needs of the people. And I'm just going to soften it a little bit by saying that the people are desperate for something to happen because they are righteous. In other words, they want good to triumph over evil. And so we have to understand that they get cross, they want to push, they want the answers. They want, when is Hillary going to be arrested? When is this going to be arrested? Now, from the grand scheme of things, that isn't even in the planning, just as you said. But that's what people will see to believe. Now, the other issue quickly, because I know you do this very fast, Robert, is that I'm getting told that the emergency broadcast system is only going to now go over American networks. Now, I'm concerned about that because the rest of the English-speaking world, I think, needs to have an understanding. So it's no good if the United States goes down one route and then you've got Britain, Australia, New Zealand, Canada going down the other one. So that's something I'm desperately seeking some clarification on.
Well, the simple answer is the American military can't control foreign networks. It can control at the point of a bayonet the American networks.
Sure, but what I'd understood was that a deal was going to be struck with the non-American news media corporations, that they would also carry the message. But I'm now receiving the information that they've refused, the non-American group have refused to take it, and therefore the US would use other methods. It just means that the Americans are going to get the truth before anyone else.
So can I jump in here, Robert, quickly?
Yeah.
That's because the Crown and the Vatican have fallen together versus the US. I mean, that's been the big play in the last few months in any event. So that could be expected. The Europe is still highly weaponized, far more dangerous, in my view, than North America.
Sure. Yeah, I agree. I get, but I want it to happen. Otherwise, what's going to happen is we're going to have the English-speaking world divided, and I think that something's got to give, and I'm hoping it won't be too long.
Well, I'm quite sure, Simon, that if America gets its act together between now and the 4th of March, that this will have a cascade effect. I'd like to end on a positive note, and I'll start by saying something very negative. Here in Fairfax County, they are trying to make transgender a common thing in our public schools, to include changing sexual education to give kids the same choices by programming that they offer in California, where they also have drag queens and others that roll around on the floor with children, and children are being taught that they have to show their tolerance for what are basically perversions. I think all of this is driving the God-fearing, family-loving, community-oriented public mad. And so I'd like to start with you, Simon, and then Charlie, and then Sacha as the finalist. Do you believe that the forces of God are in fact being drawn out by all of this cultural Marxism and transgenderism and artificial intelligence and transhumanism and so forth? So you, Simon, and then Charlie, and then Sacha, and we'll stop.
Well, okay, thanks, Robert. Well, that's why Trump flipped California, for one of the key reasons, that people didn't like what they see. And I see it the opposite. I think that the satanic evil force is being drawn out and shown to people so that they can make a choice. You know, it's now or will be legal in America for men to participate in women-only sports. So if you've got a handball team that's women only, legally a man can join. Well, I can't see the women being very happy about that, because generally males are more physically strong than females, generally speaking. So it just makes a mockery. The problem I have here is that the more of an idiot Biden makes of himself, the more the good guys want to leave him there, because he's showing the world exactly what they've got and what the enemy is. If he was a bit more switched on and with it, I think the military would have moved sooner. But he's making, do you see that with 300, 400,000 doses of vaccine, we're going to double it up to 600,000, and that's enough for 300 Americans.
Well, it's also very easy to cure people when you just tell the fake pandemic it's over.
Yeah, but the point is that Biden is making so many mistakes that I have been told that his own team are ready to remove him in the middle of February. They are ready to move Harris in on the middle of February, because the last video that I've just paraphrased was a game changer and showed the world that Biden is just totally lost it. So I understand that they're going to try and put Harris in the middle of February. Now, I've also understood that action may be beginning to move the other side a bit faster. So in other words, there are things changing which are changing the goalposts. Look, good will always triumph over evil. Humanity didn't come here to spend all this time to be poked with a stick and then finally fall at the last hurdle. That's not going to happen. But we've all got to make that effort. We've all got to support each other, and we've all got to ask ourselves what sounds truthful to us. Thank you.
Brilliant. Charlie.
I go back to the right at the start of this journey, where I was told right from the start by the person that I'm connected with to trust the plan, and that he's said to me in the last few months, this is just pantomime, Charlie, it's all one. So I'm just sitting back and enjoying it, because there's a lot of lunacy going on, And it was brilliant the other day when he got inaugurated, because it's like we've turned down a bumpy road, and some of the people in the same vehicle have got out and started throwing rocks at us. They were the plastic patriots in the first place. So it's helped to flush out all the negative ones, bring all the positive ones together, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I've never felt as peaceful and calm in my entire life. I'm enjoying watching it because you couldn't make it up. And when they told me that Hunter Biden had been put in the post of in charge of the DEA, I thought, how much more stupid have you got to be? And then I hear that you can now have the COVID test by sticking something up your ass, and you can get it in Walmart. I thought, I'll head straight down there. I mean, how stupid has it got to get before people realize that this is being done as pantomime to wake people up?
Last word.
Case.
I apologize, Charlie. Did you want to finish?
I have. I've rested my case.
All right. I do want to say that Sacha, when he talked about things happening in a timetable beyond the pilot's control, Juan O. Savin said the same thing. He said that there is a DARPA NSA Fort Huachuca supercomputer that has gamed all of this out for years. And then when things happen, it calculates new shifts. And it's almost like a jet pilot flying an airplane, but not being able to micromanage all this stuff. So Sacha, our spiritualist, the last word to you, please, sir.
Well, actually, the spiritualist here is Simon. I will always defer to him. But my position is simple. The Adamite, which is the good human, the actualized human being. No disrespect to some of our other star species, Simon, but the Adamite, the true Christed human, for me is the singularity. It's the grail. It's the prize, as I think we've discussed before. The point is this: when you've engendered thousands of years of unconscious civilization, which we have done to great effect. We have allowed blood cult programming to become the basis of an unconscious civilizational wheel that's lasted for probably 13,000 years subsequent to the Great Deluge, but certainly in the last 2,000 years subsequent to the Caesars of Rome. When you allow that to take place generationally and incarnationally, what you get is a very, very weird geometry forms. That geometry comes back at the unconscious civilization in the most unheralded and unexpected way. It's very weird. It's helter-skelter. It's inverse logic at the cosmic level playing out. That's the weirdness of COVID and Corona and all of this spooky shit that we've all been through as a species, as a planet in the last year, when government has become the ghoul, the demon. It's revealed for what it is, where the Catholic Church is exposed for having been the pedophile, the ritual satanic network, the inversion of everything, and the truth, the fragile flickering flame of truth, the ember of wisdom flame has been kept by the shamanic peoples, the First Nation peoples, from Bophuthatswana to Alaska, and also harbored inside the common pulse of decency in Middle America, Middle England, Middle Canada, Middle Australia, Middle Germany. That is the thing now that is about to erupt like a volcano and prevail. But we had to deal with the geometry of our unconscious collective. And that's what's met us squarely. Let's just be strong about it. Let's not be enraged and aggressive and angry and frustrated. Let's, as Charlie quite rightly does, lean back in our chairs and laugh, because this is a divine comedy.
And that is the last word. God bless you all.